It's 6:52 on a Wednesday evening. You've barely taken your shoes off when someone says the dishwasher's making that noise again. There's a wet grocery bag on the counter, your phone's buzzing in your pocket, and dinner hasn't even started. Still, you kneel on the cold tile, pull the lower rack out, and listen. A grinding sound, a pause, another grinding sound. 10 minutes later, you're holding a tiny shard of glass that had wedged itself under the filter. The machine hums normally again. Everybody moves on. You're not controlling. You're often the person who can't relax while something in the room is quietly failing. Here's what nobody tells you about men who seem to know how to fix everything. The object is almost never just an object. A leaking pipe creates tension. A car that won't start changes the whole morning. A loose stair rail makes somebody hesitate every time they walk past it. You feel that disruption before most people say it out loud. Then your mind does what it's trained itself to do: isolate the cause, find the tool, restore the ordinary. Psychologists might describe parts of this as practical intelligence, self-efficacy, and instrumental support. In real life, it sounds much simpler. Move over. Let me take a look. Robert Sternberg and Richard Wagner studied practical intelligence and tacit knowledge, the kind of competence people build in real situations rather than display on a test. Think about a Monday at 7:14 a.m. Your sister calls because her car won't start and she's already late for work. Over the phone you ask, does it click once or keep clicking? Are the lights dim? Did it struggle yesterday? She hears a dead car. You hear a chain of clues. Translation. Your brain doesn't just notice failure, it wants the pattern behind the failure. Here's where it gets interesting. Much of what you know probably lives in your body before it reaches your vocabulary. It's Saturday morning, still dark outside, and the heater cuts out with a little metallic tick. You're wearing socks on a freezing basement floor, one hand on the casing, the other lifting the dusty filter toward the single bare bulb. You don't deliver a speech. You tilt your head, feel the airflow, and say, okay, I know what it is. Psychologists call this procedural knowledge, experience that becomes skill through repetition. You're not lucky. You've been educated by consequences. Then there's Albert Bandura's idea of self-efficacy, the belief that your actions can change an outcome. It isn't the same as ego. It's 10:26 p.m. during a rainstorm, and water begins spreading across the laundry room floor because the drain is backing up. You grab towels, find the shutoff, clear a path, and keep your voice steady enough for everyone else to keep moving. Plot twist. The calm people admire in you may have been built one solved problem at a time. Every time you managed the mess, your brain recorded a message. Panic won't tighten the clamp. Your hands might. And then there's the part nobody calls psychological because it looks so ordinary. Love delivered as labor. Researchers use the term instrumental support for care expressed through tangible help. At 5:08 on a Friday, your father mentions that his porch step feels soft under one foot. Sunday afternoon, there are wood shavings on the concrete, a drill whining in short bursts, and a new board sitting flush where the rotten one used to flex. Or your partner complains that the bedroom window keeps letting in cold air, and that night she notices the draft is gone. You didn't say, I want you comfortable. You sealed the gap. That's not less emotional. It's emotion translated into something the hand can finish. But here's the kicker. Some men become excellent at solving problems because being useful was the cleanest way they knew to belong. Maybe when you were 11, the garage smelled like motor oil and summer dust, and an older man handed you a flashlight with the instruction, hold it steady. Maybe nobody in your house talked much about fear or stress, but everybody understood the boy who could carry the groceries, adjust the chain, reset the breaker, patch the bicycle tire. Maybe things broke often and replacement wasn't an option, so you paid attention. You learned. You became reliable long before anyone asked whether being reliable was heavy. You're not distant. You may have been taught to show tenderness through solutions. Think about the last family gathering. It's 3:17 on a Sunday afternoon. You're finally sitting down when an uncle says, hey, the bathroom lock sticks. Since you're here, everybody chuckles because everybody knows. Notice how strange and comfortable that is. A broken lock gives you a defined role. It doesn't demand small talk. It doesn't ask you to expose anything. It simply says, here's the problem, make it better. And you do. This is why emotional problems can leave you feeling clumsy in a way mechanical ones never do. It's Tuesday night, 11:41, and your partner is sitting at the edge of the sofa with her mug cooling untouched between both hands. She says, "I don't need you to solve it. I just need you here." Your mind starts reaching anyway. What did they say? What can she reply? What's the plan for tomorrow? Not because you're uncaring, because action has always been your most fluent form of comfort. You're not bad at love. You're learning that sometimes love isn't a repair. It's staying in the room while the hurt is still making noise. And honestly, being the dependable man can be lonelier than it looks. Your phone lights up at 8:02 on a Thursday. Quick question about my fuse box. Then, do you know why my brakes squeak? Then, can you help mount this on Saturday? You bring the right bits because you already know the cheap screws in the box won't hold. But after you drive home with dust on your jeans and a half-drunk coffee cooling in the cup holder, a thought lands harder than it should. Who calls when they don't need anything? You're not ungrateful. You're tired of being valued only at the exact moment something fails. Here's the thing, your strength can become a hiding place. Research by Michael Addis and James Mahalik examined how expectations about masculinity can make help-seeking feel risky for men. That risk doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's you waking at 2:23 a.m. with your jaw clenched, then spending Saturday reorganizing the garage instead of telling anyone you're struggling. Sometimes it's saying, "I'm just busy," while your patience gets thinner and your sleep gets worse. Competence is real, so is overload. A man who knows when a structure needs reinforcement shouldn't have to pretend his own weight-bearing parts are indestructible. Maybe the next skill isn't becoming softer or less capable. Maybe it's letting somebody stay beside you when there's no clear diagnosis, no replacement part, no neat moment when the machine starts humming again. Picture a heavy canvas jacket hanging from a hook in a workshop after sunset. The pockets are full of useful things: a pencil worn flat, a folded measuring tape, 2 screws somebody might need tomorrow. The jacket has protected the person wearing it from splinters, grease, wind, and cold. But along one inner seam, the thread has started to pull loose. Not because the fabric is weak, but because it's carried weight faithfully for years. A careful hand doesn't throw it away. It turns it inside out, finds the strain nobody else saw, and mends it before the tear gets larger. You're not just the man who fixes what breaks. You're someone worth caring for before anything breaks at all. So tell me in the comments, what's the repair, tool, or skill your family automatically associates with you? If this hit home for you, please subscribe. And if you want to support these deep dives, hit that join button to become a channel member. I would genuinely appreciate your support.